Welcome back, dear students. We all have started with the biomolecules chapter. In this chapter, we have defined how exactly biomolecules definition we have done, and with that we have seen classification of carbohydrates. We also have defined carbohydrates classification. We have seen there are mainly of three categories classification we have done. With that classification, more concentrated over the structure of glucose, we were doing certain reactions in which we have carried out in our last video, that is reaction with hydrogen iodide. We have taken a possible structure of the glucose, we have treated it with hydrogen iodide. With this we have obtained respective 6 carbon chain which is called as N-hexane, that confirms glucose contains a 6 carbon straight chain in its structure. In second phase, we have seen how exactly the treatment of hydroxylamine and hydrogen cyanide is going to take place. Therein, we have confirmed there is a presence of one carbonyl group. Finally, we have done the mild oxidizing agent bromine water, that also confirmed that there is a presence of carbonyl group which is referred as an aldehydic group. And lastly, we have seen the treatment with acetic anhydride, the treatment of imaginary structure of glucose with acetic anhydride. It has given us a product pentaacetate. Pentaacetate formation again confirms that there is a presence of 5 hydroxyl groups in the structure of glucose. Likewise, let us consider the last reaction. In order to check out the structure of the glucose, we will be performing structure elucidation with respect to reaction of oxidizing agent like HNO3. Let me write that reaction. If you consider first, second, third, fourth, these all have been covered in the previous lecture. We supposed to consider the fifth reaction, that is oxidation reaction, that is called as oxidation reaction of imaginary structure of glucose with HNO3, nitric acid. So now see here, when you consider nitric acid as an oxidizing agent, we will be obtaining a product. So whenever we consider direct treatment of HNO3 with glucose, also we are going to obtain saccharic acid. Glucose will be having a CHO group which is going to be converted to COOH. It is going to be oxidized. Similarly, we will be having a gluconic acid having only the carboxylic group. Again, it is also going to be converted respectively saccharic acid. Let me show that one here. Let me rub this very first. Okay, now we have space here. I'll show. Whenever we consider glucose, we all know the structure of the glucose. CHOH, 4 we have. Here I'll be having an aldehydic group. Here I'll be having a primary alcoholic group. Okay, when I treat it with nitric acid, we are going to obtain respective saccharic acid. A saccharic acid is considered to be a dicarboxylic acid. So see here, this CHO group is completely oxidized to COOH group, and here also whatever the primary alcoholic group is, again is going to be converted to COOH group. That is, complete oxidation is going to take place. So HNO3 will be acting as an oxidizing agent and oxidation process will be carried out. Likewise, you can see here, if you consider gluconic acid, how do you write the structure for gluconic acid? See here, I will be having COOH, this is CHOH 4, and here I will be having CH2OH, which is referred to be a structure for gluconic acid. Both gluconic acid as well glucose will form treatment with HNO3, that is called as saccharic acid. Saccharic acid is said to be dicarboxylic acid. So this question can be asked for 1 marks. Structure elucidation generally can be asked for in 5 marks. Part D, therein 1 marks is going to be divided, or 2 and 1 marks will be divided. So it is also referred to be important. Here also we consider HNO3, which is process referred as oxidation. So these are the important reactions we have to do for structure elucidation. With all these reactions what we have performed so far, we can conclude at last the open chain structure or exact structure of glucose, that is having 5 carboxylic acids, and it will be having one aldehydic group and it will be having one primary alcoholic group. So just write down this one. I will let you know how exactly open structure for glucose can be written. So welcome back students. We have seen a treatment with acetic acid, that as a nitric acid. The treatment of nitric acid is going to give us a particular product called as saccharic acid. Saccharic acid formation has confirmed us there is a presence of primary alcoholic group. We will be having one primary alcoholic group in our glucose structure. So when you consider a open structure or Fischer projection of glucose, open structure of glucose can also be called as Fischer projection. Fischer projection of glucose can be asked for 1 marks. So let us write that structure how we can consider. So let me have very first a carbonyl group. It is aldehydic group. The carbonyl group present here, it is an aldehydic group. And here at last I have one primary alcoholic group, CH2OH. So totally 6 carbon atoms have been obtained. We have seen that confirmation with respect to the treatment of hydrogen iodide reaction, very first reaction for structure elucidation. Now see here, I have second carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But for counting we will be considering CHO is the first carbon atom for this structure. So once I write OH here, I will be having one more OH. This is also OH. Here I have H, again I have OH. So respectively I have hydrogen atoms at the other side as well hydroxyl group at the other side, and I have HOH. Okay, so CH2OH, if you start writing from the downside, this is said to be 6th carbon, this is 5th carbon, 4th carbon, third carbon, second carbon, and it is said to be first carbon atom for the structure of glucose. So you can see here we will be having 3 hydroxyl groups at a stretch at the right side, and I will be having one hydrogen at the third carbon, then I have OH and CHO. This is said to be open chain structure or open structure for glucose. This can also be called as Fischer projection. So let me write some of the points with respect to this structure. As we have already performed certain reactions, that is, very first glucose contains 6 carbon atoms. Glucose has 6 carbon atoms. Very first point we can easily write, and it has aldehydic group. It has aldehydic group at first carbon. It has aldehydic group at first carbon atom. Okay, this is also the point we can write here. Then you can see here, you can count, there are 5 hydroxyl groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is 5. This is 5. There are, this is aldehydic group, it is not a hydroxyl group, only 5 hydroxyl group are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the 5th hydroxyl group. So I could write here that there are 5 hydroxyl groups. There are 5 hydroxyl groups are present in the structure of glucose. And I could also write lastly I have primary alcoholic group also. Primary alcoholic group. One primary alcoholic group is also present in the structure of glucose. At last I would like to tell you one more important thing, that we have in total 4 chiral carbon atoms. Now let us understand what you mean by chiral carbon atoms. When you consider chiral carbon atoms, they are said to be optically active and they must be having all the different substituents bonded to carbon atom. The carbon atom which is possessing 4 different substitutions to it as well, it is considered as a chiral carbon which is optically active. That carbon atom is said to be optically active. Optical activity is nothing but it will be having dextrorotatory compounds. It will give us dextrorotatory compounds as well as levorotatory compounds. Leave about that one, just understand there are 4 carbon atoms which are chiral in nature. They are said to be optically active. All the optically active compounds are said to be non-superimposable mirror images. When you consider this carbon atom with respect to, this is the carbon atom which is bonded by 4 different groups. Okay. With respect to this carbon atom, again 4 different groups, 1, 2, 3, this is 4th group. When you consider this carbon atom, we will be having this whole together one group, 2, 3, 4. Likewise, in total we have 4 different chiral carbon atoms in glucose structure. As well, if you consider optical isomers for glucose, 4 square equal to 16. Compulsorily optical isomers are going to be formed with respect to the structure of a glucose. This is said to be a CET or competitive question part you have to understand thoroughly. So let me write the last part clearly here, that glucose contains 4 chiral carbon atoms. That is, when you consider 4 square equal to totally 16 optical isomers can be formed. So this is all about a elaborative description for the structure of glucose. With the help of various reactions we have performed, at last we have concluded the structure of the glucose is like this, and we have given certain points with respect to this glucose. That means what are the number of carbon atoms, what are the number of hydroxyl groups, what will be the type of the carbon atom present, as well lastly we have quoted regarding the presence of primary alcoholic group also. Please take it, we'll move to next. So we have done a structure elucidation in which finally we have concluded the structure of the glucose as I have written previously. Now let us understand some of the limitations. No person is going to be 100% true or no person is 100% right. As person itself is not 100%, how come the things are going to be 100%, isn't it? So now we have certain limitations here with respect to the structure. So very first point we understand with respect to the structure of the glucose is it doesn't reduces the Skiff's test. I must have told you regarding the reducing sugars and non-reducing sugars. Reducing sugars are those which have particularly aldehydic group in their structure is free. Free aldehydic group, that is CHO, will be present. Such compounds are said to be reducing sugars. Those sugars or the carbohydrates which do not have aldehydic group free in their structure, they will be bound somewhere else with the other compounds or the other atoms of the same structure. They are said to be non-reducing sugars. So when you consider here the structure of the glucose, I have shown a CHO group. I have written it there first. It was free to look at. But the thing is, when you perform certain reactions, it has given us no result or negative result with respect to Skiff's test. It would have given a positive result. It would have reduced a Skiff's base, but it doesn't happen. It confirms or it tells us that the aldehydic group which is present in glucose is not at all free. The reason why it is said to be non-reducing sugar. The second point you can see here, when we have performed reaction with pentaacetyl, we had obtained pentaacetyl glucose, that is reaction with acetic anhydride. We had obtained penta-acetyl glucose. That penta-acetyl glucose doesn't give, or it hasn't given any reaction with hydroxylamine. It would have actually given the reaction with the hydroxylamine to form the respective product. But the thing is, it doesn't happen. Again, it also tells us that there is an absence of free aldehydic group. At the very first carbon atom, I have shown you the presence of the aldehydic group. With all these 2 points, we clearly say that the CHO group which is present in glucose is not at all free. It has bounding, or it has binded within the structure somewhere else. We will understand those things in detail. Let me complete the third point also. Glucose exists in alpha and beta form. This point is not explained with their properties. Let me tell you regarding the alpha as well as beta form of a glucose. So whenever the carbon atoms are going to be considered as a sample, they are going to be passed with a plain polarized light. The practical thing I am telling you, whenever we consider the sample with the carbon atoms or any sample hydrocarbons, you can also consider, they are going to be passed with a plain polarized light. That means light will be moving in all the directions, and it is moved in such a manner that through the prism, plane in one direction it is going to be moved. Okay, and it is going to be passed through the prism, and it is going to be moved to the substance. Okay, let me show you the diagram so that you will get the clear picture regarding that. I have light moving in all the directions. So this all the direction moving light is going to be passed through the prism. I'll be keeping the prism here. Okay. Then the light starts moving in one direction. It starts moving in one direction. And I have a sample here with a carbon atom. When we pass this plain polarized light on this sample rotates this light either to the right side. This rotates light either to the right side, or it may rotate either to the left side, or it may remain same also. I make my points still clear. The light which is passing in all the directions is going to be moved to the prism to make it plain polarized light. When this plain polarized light is passed over the sample, what happens? This sample having carbon atoms will rotate or will make light to vibrate on right side, or it may happens that the light may be vibrated at the left side, or it may remain same. If the light plain polarized light is vibrating at the right side, it is said to be dextrorotatory. If the light is moving at the left side or vibrating at the left side, it is known as levorotatory. I am explaining these things here is mainly because this glucose has shown alpha form as well as beta form. If the compound is rotating at the right side, dextrorotatory. If it is rotating left side, it is levorotatory. These two forms are also called as alpha form and beta form respectively. Alpha right side, beta left side. And such compounds are going to show different properties. They will be showing different boiling point, different properties are going to be exhibited. The structure alone hasn't explained the alpha form as well as beta form of glucose. And why does these all not explained with the structure is mainly because we are considering all these points as limitations for structure of glucose. Now let us understand the next part of the glucose structure, that is it is having a kind of cyclic structure. So why does that cyclic structure? How does a cyclic structure is going to be existed? Where all the carbon atoms get binded? All those things we have to understand. Copy this. I'll let you know the further things. Let us understand regarding cyclic structure of glucose. When you consider cyclic structure of glucose, there exist two stereoisomeric forms. One is alpha D-glucose and other one is said to be beta D-glucose. Let me first write the structure for the glucose. Later part will understand how does the cyclization is going to take place. So when you consider the structure for the glucose, I must write here a carbonyl group present. So this is the carbonyl group in which we consider present at first carbon atom. And at the last I have primary alcoholic group. So this is second carbon, third, fourth, fifth, and it is said to be last sixth carbon atom. So now when you write hydroxyl groups, I could write like this. I have all the three hydroxyl groups at the right side when we write from the bottom. Then I will be having H and here I will be having OH. And respectively I have at the opposite side OH. OH, H, H, OH, OH. H it will be here OH, it is also H. This is how we derived the structure for the glucose. Now due to some limitations we move to the further that the structure of the glucose is in cyclic form. Let us understand that one. So this is said to be open structure what we exactly derived. Now you can see here that there is a presence of fifth carbon atom. I told you this is sixth carbon, fourth, fifth, this is third, second, and this is first carbon atom. I have one hydroxyl group at the fifth carbon atom. Hydroxyl group possessing oxygen atom with the two lone pair electrons are going to be provided to first carbon atom, because we all know the carbonyl group is present at the first carbon atom. As oxygen is highly electronegative in case of aldehydic group present in the glucose structure, it will be always in abstracting the electrons. And likewise, this fifth carbon atom is going to provide a pair of electrons to the carbon. Then finally what happens? This pi electron is going to shift onto the oxygen atom. We have understood or we have learned regarding electron displacement effects in our first PUC chapter, basic principles and techniques. If not, you are understanding this one, just go through with that one. We will have understand the things clearly and further we can see how does reaction takes place. Now see here, once pair of electrons are being given here, I must write two forms, stereoisomeric forms. One is alpha form, other is beta form. Let us understand the two forms of this one. Okay, once this pi electron is shifted, I could write here that CO minus. Okay, then I have H here. This H can be written here. Fine. Then I have rest of the molecules as it is. Just look at me how I am drawing. This is CH2OH as it is, and I have fifth carbon, fourth, third, and I will be having second carbon also. Okay. Now see here, let me write this oxygen, it is bound in a cyclization. I could write like this because hydrogen is going to bind further with the oxygen atom. Now you can see once I does this binding, next how many hydroxyl group and hydrogen atom are left, we have to understand. So this is the fifth carbon binded to first carbon atom. Likewise it is first carbon. After fifth I have fourth carbon atom which is having OH group as it is. Then I have third carbon atom H as it is, and I have second carbon atom OH here. Just complete this one. The rest part is made of HOH. Here it is H, here it is H. Okay. Now see here, once cyclization is done here, I left with one hydrogen atom, isn't it? So how does this hydrogen atom is going to bind here, that we have to understand. Okay, this hydrogen is going to bind to the negatively charged oxygen atom. Then it will become OH. Okay, it will be becoming OH. So this is referred as, we will be having hydroxyl group of second carbon atom. I am mentioning here second carbon atom is having hydroxyl group at the right side, and I have one more form of the same glucose, that is referred as other form. Let me write that one. Here I will be having the same thing. Let me repeat here, that is here I have CH2OH. Okay, and here see I have fifth hydroxyl group. Okay, this is fourth, third, second. 1, 2, 3 hydroxyl groups are present. Then I have hydrogen. Then I have hydroxyl group at the second carbon atom also. Here I will be having one aldehydic group. and just complete this structure. I have OH means I have H, here I have OH, H, this is also OH, H. This much I have understood properly. I know there is a presence of two lone pair of electrons in the oxygen atom of hydroxyl group of 5th carbon is going to be given to carbonyl group. The same thing what I have written here. But the thing is, you can see the hydroxyl group after binding with the carbon atom of first, we will be getting hydroxyl group at the right side. I may get hydroxyl group at the right side. And there is a binding of this oxygen atom in the form of cyclization. I have obtained hydroxyl group at the right side and I will be having H on the left side. But here you can see there is a hydrogen present at right side and hydroxyl group is present at left side. I do tell you this is the hydroxyl group I have to consider. First carbon hydroxyl group I have to consider. This is the hydroxyl group. We have to consider here that you can see in this case hydroxyl group is at the right side and hydrogen is present at the left side. If the hydroxyl group is present at the right side, it is said to be alpha form. We can write it as alpha D glucose. D in the sense dextrorotatory. It is represented by positive charge. Alpha D glucopyranose. Alpha D glucopyranose. As the cyclic structure will also form a pyranose type of the representation. So the reason why it is called as alpha D glucopyranose. I'll let you know the things, that is how glucopyranose or the only normal pyranose can be written, and further how does glucopyranose can be written. All those things I'll explain you later. Don't worry about that one. But the thing is, you remember whenever we have hydroxyl group on our right side with the first carbon atom, then it is said to be alpha form of the glucose. Likewise, I have hydroxyl group present at the left side of the first carbon atom, then it is said to be beta form of glucose. So I make you understand the things by writing the name here, that this is alpha form, where this is referred as beta form of glucose. In beta form, we will be having hydroxyl group present at the left side. So see here, this is referred as beta D positive glucopyranose. So these are the two stereoisomeric forms of the glucose present, and we have to understand these things. Definitely this cyclic structure is going to be asked for you for 1 to 2 marks. Understand the things properly and try to memorize them, and once you get the things clearly understood, memorization is definitely very easy. I repeat once again the things here. I have hydroxyl group at the 5th carbon atom with lone pair of electrons on the oxygen atom are going to be provided to the carbonyl carbon because it is highly electron positive in nature. It abstracts electrons. Once is done, it will be negatively charged. It will become O minus. O minus abstracts this hydrogen and it will become OH. If the OH is present at the left side, it is called as beta form, whereas if hydroxyl group is present on the right side after cyclization, that is called as alpha form of glucose. Due to it resembles pyranose structure, we generally call this as glucopyranose, and this is referred as beta D glucopyranose, whereas this is referred as alpha D glucopyranose. That is it. So copy this, we'll move to next.